For those people that are asking for age limits, there is no age limit other than the fact that you cannot work if you are 16 years and younger. I mean, that's already a given. You typically get $18 to $25 an hour. Another question that I usually get is, can I work as a care worker on a visitor visa? Can I take a care course from my home country and apply for jobs from there? Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Yemisi. On this channel I create lifestyle videos and I make videos regarding settling into Canada as an international student. I recently finished from the University of Saskatchewan where I studied Masters of Public Administration, and in this video I am going to be sharing with you care jobs for international students in Canada. Recently I made a video on care jobs for people living in Canada generally, and it was more tailored towards people that are in Canada as permanent residents or citizens, and a lot of people wanted me to do like a targeted video to international students only, and that is what I'm going to be doing today. You guys should pardon me, I filmed already but I realized that there was no audio, so I'm kind of pissed off at the moment. I'm also going to touch on some of the questions that was asked in that video. I picked up a few of them that are relevant to this particular video. So yeah, some of the things that I want you to know is that you can be studying any course in Canada and still be eligible for this job. Like, you can be an undergraduate student or a graduate student, you can be studying accounting, whatever course that you're studying, whatever program you're studying, and still be eligible for care jobs in Canada. For adventure, you have experience. All they need is for you to be able to show that you have experience and you get the job. For those people that are asking for age limits, there is no age limit other than the fact that you cannot work if you are 16 years and younger. I mean, that's already a given. Some of the questions that were asked, I will be touching on them in the video, but I need to quickly go to some of the criteria that you must fulfill to work as a student in Canada. The first one is make sure that you are enrolled in a full-time program. Make sure that it's in a designated learning institution, which is DLI. What that means is that, for example, in the University of Saskatchewan and also the University of Regina, for you to be considered a full-time student, you must have registered for at least 2 courses. So you want to confirm from your school to know what makes you eligible to be a full-time student in Canada, because if you're not a full-time student, you should not even be working off campus in the first place. The second thing is for you to have a valid study visa and study permit. It is very easy for you to say, oh, why wouldn't I have a study visa? I mean, how did I come into Canada? But some people's visa gets expired when they are in Canada, and so you want to ensure that your visa is still valid, and if at all it's not valid anymore, 3 months or 6 months before expiry, make sure you've applied for an extension. That is for your study permit anyway. And then study visa, if you know that you will be traveling in and out of the country, make sure to have a visa. If you have a valid study permit and you don't have a valid study visa, once you step your foot out of this country, you cannot come in until you get a valid study visa to come back in. I hope that is clear. Another thing is make sure to have your social insurance number, which is popularly known as your SIN. For students, it starts with the number 9 and it's a 6-digit number, I believe. Also, make sure that you do not share your social insurance number with anyone, but most importantly, make sure that you get your social insurance number once you land in Canada. I have a video where I talked about some of the newcomer tips and things to do when you first land in Canada, so make sure to check it. I'll link it up somewhere here. I'll also link up the video for care jobs in Canada, you know, the general one that talks about working as a personal support worker, where you want to like go into core nursing programs. But this one is a little bit different because this one, you might not be interested in the nursing route or the medical field or healthcare field in general. This particular video is for those people that just wants to work as a carer part-time because they are an international student and they need money to offset their living expenses and their tuition fees. Another thing is the academic program must be at least 6 months in duration and must fetch you a degree, diploma, or a certificate. So if you're coming to study a program that is less than 6 months, you already know that you must not work because you are not eligible to work. And all of these things that I'm telling you is not necessarily tied to you working in a care job. These are general criteria for working at all in Canada as an international student, so it's not really directed towards care job. I'm just giving you all of this information just so that you understand the criteria for even working off campus in the first place. Your program must have started before you can start this job. So I get questions like, my program starts in September but I want to come to Canada in August or in like months prior. am I able to work? No, you cannot work except your program has started. That is a standard IRCC rule. So make sure that you do not do that, because I see that some people will say, oh, I know someone that have done it and I've gone away with it. But let me tell you something. Now that I'm doing everything that relates to postgraduate and like documentation, applications and the likes, I now better understand the importance of following the rule of IRCC, because you just want to tread carefully. So people can say, oh, they got away with it, but it might be your turn and you might not be able to get away with it. So make sure that you do not start your job before you started your program. You can only start working off campus when your program has started. Make sure at the end of the day, postgraduate work permit gets denied if worked extra hours when there's 20 hours restriction, or in cases like this where you started working before the program started. So you want to guide against that. Another question that I usually get is, can I work as a care worker on a visitor visa? You cannot. The only thing you have to do is to convert your visitor visa to work visa, and before you can do that, the employer of the job that wants to make you eligible to apply for work visa must be able to provide LMIA, because it has to be like employer specific, I guess. So yeah, you cannot work in Canada on visitor visa except you convert it to a work visa. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is the wage or salary that you get per hour for these care jobs. Generally, care jobs in Canada, although varied from province to province, from city to city, the kind of work that you are even doing in the first place in that care home, you typically get $18 to $25 an hour. And if you're a personal support worker, I've explained that in the other video that I mentioned that I said I was going to link up here. If you're a personal support worker, you would be getting about $23 to $28 an hour. That is incredible. So let us now go to some of the documents or things that you require when you're applying for care jobs in Canada. Resume. Tailor your resume to include experiences you have as a caregiver. Make sure to include all the certificates that you have that can help you be more competitive compared to other candidates. For those that do not know, we have a Canadian format that is way different from other countries. You know, might be a bit similar to the one used in the US or UK, but anyway, just make sure to follow a Canadian format. I've done a video before on how to draft a Canadian resume, and I'll link it up somewhere here for you, so make sure to go check it out. Another thing you'll be accessed on will be your credit check, criminal record check rather. It will request a valid police certificate from your home country. For this one, you don't necessarily have to like start asking from home or whatever. Before you came into Canada, you must have attached a police certificate that has stated that you are not a threat to the residents in Canada and that you do not have any criminal record back home. So you will need that valid police certificate, and also a certificate from the Canada Police Service here in Canada that also speaks to the fact that you are able to work with vulnerable people, because you're going to be working with vulnerable people. In that criminal record check, they will also check whether you have any issues with like working with vulnerable people before. So there's usually like a form like that. I have filled a form like that when I wanted to do my summer job last year, also when I was applying to be a volunteer at the Open Door Society, so I'm familiar with it. Another document that you need to have is certificates. If you do not have any certificate for care job, you must have it, especially if it's a first aid training certificate. I know that this one is very important. They will always put it on all job posting that you need to have first aid certificate before they can make you eligible. The second one is the food safety training, because you know sometimes you might be giving them food, giving them medicine, you know, you're not the one administering the medicine. They must have had like a doctor appointment and whatever, but you will be the one to actually give them the medicine. So they always want you to have food safety training, which costs about $25, and the first aid training, just in case you have someone under your watch that probably, you know, is gasping for breath or collapsed or something. You should know the necessary things to do. This one is usually a 2-day training, and you sometimes pay about $200 ish. That's for Saskatchewan. I don't know if it's like the general thing in Canada, but I know that in Saskatchewan you pay about $200, and it's a 2-day training. Can I take a care course from my home country and apply for jobs from there? Of course, you can take courses to make you more competitive, like I mentioned earlier, but chances are usually slim to get a care job from your home country, like outside of Canada, because just as much as we have care jobs in demand in Canada, we also have a lot of people that are ready to take up the job. Like we have people that I feel like we even still have more people that want to do the job compared to the number of jobs that are available. So the chances are very slim. You know, competitive jobs like IT jobs or doctor, like healthcare jobs, you know, those ones are kind of competitive. You can apply for it from back home. But care jobs, international students do it, residents do it, citizens do it. So something that is in demand and a lot of people are there. So chances are really very, very slim. And unlike maybe other countries, for example UK, we don't have like a care route, except that there is a nursing pathway program that was recently launched in Alberta. I know that one for sure, but it's not for for carers, it's for nurses. Try to have a driver's license before you come to Canada. The reason is because some care homes need you to have a driver's license. Some of these care homes can be either a private care home, some can be public hospital or retirement home, but most importantly, it's somehow necessary to have a driver's license, just because sometimes you have to take these people out, you have to go for sightseeing or like games night. It's not compulsory, but it's necessary, and that's why I always scream to you guys, make sure to have a driver's license before you come to Canada, especially if you're going to go into this care route or work as a carer in Canada as an international student. Be open to work overtime, weekends or overnights. I know that there are some people that have full-time jobs, I mean permanent residents or people on postgraduate work permit that have full-time job and also do this job part-time, and sometimes they just do overnight. So there are different shifts, morning shifts, afternoon and evening. Lastly, some of these clients can be independent, some can be dependent. You need to give them pills, you need to take care of them, like clean them up, bathe for them. Some can be children, some can be adults, some can be old people. Some of these children in foster homes, like I said, some can be very independent. You don't even have to take care of them, like have their bath or whatever, but you need to cook for them, you need to give them pills like medicine. A friend of mine told me recently that once it's 7 p.m. they have to go sleep, so just take care of them, watch them. You don't necessarily have to do so much for these independent people because they already know how to take care of themselves, but you know, you have to make sure that everyone goes to bed at a certain time, make sure that they are eating well. Some actually work, you know. Also, you can have people that are disabled in your care, like people that cannot move, probably they are injured or mental disability and the like. So yeah, you must be able to take care of these vulnerable people. Sometimes you might just have to take them for sightseeing, game nights, bowling, hockey games, you know, just assisting them here and there. Nothing too serious. So that's basically how it is. It's nothing too gigantic. Just make sure that you are available for them and take care of them. So guys, I have come to the end of this video, and if you have other questions, let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And for those people that you know that are coming to Canada as an international student, that want to work part-time as a carer in Canada, or that wants to go long-term nursing in the future, this is something that they can also consider. And if not, they can also watch my previous video where I mentioned how you can take the personal support worker training for like 5 or 6 months and get the job as a carer and transition into the nursing program. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.